dog. I'ma dive on the floor, go try to block every shot, and I'ma be physical with you the whole game. You know Stu gonna be physical with you. When you think of the Pistons, you think of just hard work and just gritty basketball. That's just the identity you gotta have when you put on that jersey.
I'm not your average breed of canine. Not a good dog, I'm bad boy for life. I set the tone, don't care about no tick. Let it be known, I get my respect. Come in the lane and see I don't bluff. If you retaliate, that's on ya. They talking pundits, I hear you're ashamed. Talking that shop, you must want this way. Tryna tell ya, if the dog palm, mess around, find out, if the dog palm, mess around, find out, for some barbecue sauce, boy, you better crop the hill, cause I'm like that. When you're ready for some barbecue sauce, boy, you better crop the hill, cause I'm like that. Mess around, find out. Detroit basketball. Man, it's been a long time since I've done that. But y'all know the drill, man. Whenever the Pistons win a game, whether summer league, preseason, regular season, playoffs, you're going to get that every single time. So, welcome back, everybody, to the Downtown Deuce Show. It's good to have all of you guys here. Summer League Game 1 has just concluded. We are going to get into everything, man. It's so good to have Pistons basketball back. Shout out to everybody who is here, showing up and showing out as you guys always do. Summer League is in full swing, man. Summer League is in full swing. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to it. I see you guys all in the chat, all you guys in the comments. We are going to talk about everything. If you guys want to participate, as always, drop a comment. If I miss it, put it in caps, repost it, super chat, whatever you want to do. Let's get it popping, man. So, oh man, what a great game to watch. What a great way to open Summer League, man. So the Pistons, they came out today against the New York Knicks in their first action in Summer League and get the win, 104-86. And this, guys, was basically a wire-to-wire win. You could see from the jump, this team came in looking to jump all over the New York Knicks. And they did just that, man. So my initial thoughts, right? You know how we started, initial thoughts. Like I said before, man, when it comes to Summer League, I'm not concerned with their record. I'm not concerned about things like that, even though I do think the Pistons have a good shot to very well win this whole thing. But what I want to see, though, is how certain guys, certain players could potentially fit with this team going forward into next season and beyond that, right? We already know Ron Holland is an important piece of this team, right? And so I honestly don't expect him to play every single game or play a ton every single game. But I expect him more so to kind of try to help these younger guys get acclimated on both sides of the basketball. And he did that today. He did a lot more than that. I'm going to get into that. But Ron is clearly the leader of this team, man. So I'm looking at guys like Chaz Lanier, Daniss Jenkins, Tolu Smith. Of course, my guy who I've been really high on for a long time, Bobi Klintman. Looking for those guys, really paying attention to those guys, man. I want to see how these guys could potentially look if given a bigger role or opportunity with the Pistons next year. So questions I'm asking myself are things like, do they understand how to play team ball? Are they committing to the defensive side of the basketball? Can they spread the floor? Are they unselfish? Are they moving it, right? Are they moving without the basketball? Those are things I'm really looking for. How well they play in transition. Those are things I'm looking for. So all the things that make the Pistons what they are and what we saw them last year is what I'm looking for key guys and to see if they can bring that to this team possibly. So we know we have our star player. We got Kate already. We have our young core of young stars as well. And so it's not really about seeing if, at this point, it's really just about seeing who can contribute, who can really complement those guys in the complementary role, right? Adding on the margins and giving the Pistons more depth. That's what it's about. That's where the NBA is going these days. So that's what I look for in Summer League. And, you know, we talk about them. Highlight plays are great. The one-on-one bag work is cool. But what can you do within the construct of an offense? This offense. That's what matters most, and that's what I look for. So let's get into what we saw. First things first, man, I want to give a major shout out to the Detroit Pistons as a team. And I'm not talking about the guys who were on the floor, but most of this squad, guys, was in the building. Most of the team was actually in the building today. We had guys You can see here in the photo, we have guys like Cade was in the building, Jaden, Asar, JD, Tobias, Stu, Sass, Duncan Robinson, B-Ball Paul, probably a couple more. Like all these guys were in attendance to support the young guys, and you saw the excitement that they had watching these guys play. And I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was pretty cool to see that. You could see Ron was really feeding off his guys, just being there, and the energy was just contagious, and it pretty much carried over the whole game. So you like to see support, from those guys. It shows that they really care about each other, and they want to see each other do well. They want to see each other succeed. So I think that really is going to go a long way towards building chemistry as this young team continues to grow together. So like I thought, the Pistons rolled with the starting lineup that I predicted of Daniss Jenkins, Chaz Lanier, Holland, Bobi Klintman, and Tolu Smith. And man, the Pistons came into this game, like I mentioned, they really came into this game looking to establish their defensive identity. They did just that, man. Defense, defense, defense. Getting out in transition, getting easy buckets, right? This Summer League team looked a lot like what we saw all of last year during the regular season from our team, right? The Pistons, they have a true culture now, and it's really nice to see that. They really have a culture and a standard that they have here. And the buy-in with how this team is going to play is already there. Even though Summer League, you can see these guys are all committed to the process. If you represent the Pistons, if you're going to wear that Pistons red, white, and blue, right, you have to play a certain brand of basketball. So let's talk about the basketball that we saw, right? And let's start with the key guy, the headliner guy, I guess you could say the guy that a lot of people wanted to see coming into Summer League, and that was Holland. So let's take a look at these. Let's take a look at the box and break down what these guys did, starting with Ron. So tonight, Ron had 28 points, leading all scorers in this game easily, far and away. He played 28 minutes, 8 for 12 from the field, 4 or 5 from 3, guys. 4 or 5 from 3. We're going to get there for sure. 8 for 13 from the free throw line, which shows he was aggressive, getting downhill, knocking down most of his free throws, which is good. 8 for 13 isn't bad. He can do better, but that's solid. He also had 11 boards. 11 boards, guys. 2 assists, 3 steals, 1 block. He did have 4 turnovers, but not too concerned about that. It is the first game of Summer League. But Holland was definitely the best player on the floor. Easily. He just looked bigger. He looked faster. He looked more impactful than anybody else in the court. He looked like a player who was part of an NBA rotation last season, right? And he was a menace, guys, defensively. He opened the game with 2 steals and a breakaway and 1 finish on one of them. He did have a couple errant shots in that first half, but I noticed he has a lot more responsibility now on this team. So I'm not too concerned about that at all. And I noticed too, guys, he has gotten noticeably bigger. He has definitely put on some muscle and gotten stronger this offseason. And I think he's going to take a huge leap, guys, with his jumper this season. He knocked down back-to-back threes in the second half from both corners. And the first one was an open look, right? Just swing. But the second one, man, he just broke down his defender and hit him with a step back. It was beautiful to see, man. I talked to my guy, Charles Hill, right, who was Ron's developmental coach and trainer. Shout out, Charles. I talked to him before tip-off, and he was telling me that Ron has made some slight adjustments as far as the alignment with his offhand, with his shooting form. And you can see now that his shot just looks a little bit smoother, a little bit more fluid, right? So like I said, I think Ron's going to take a huge jump, guys, with his shooting this year for sure. I really do think he is going to take a leap here. And he just turned 20 years old. I just saw somebody mention that in the comments. Ray, he just turned 20 about a week ago. About a week and a half ago, he just turned 20. So his ceiling, man, guys, is we got a good one, man. We got a good one in Holland for sure. I'm really, really excited about what we saw from him and the things he was able to do. As far as the shooting, he shot 24% last year from 3, right? I think this coming season, he's going to be in the 30s. May not be the high 30s, but I can see him definitely at that 30, 31, 32, maybe even 33% from 3-point like Knicks. I really see that with him. And if he does that, guys, he's going to be very, very good. He's going to be very, very good for this team. And I really think he's going to have a great sophomore campaign. Like, he's off to a great start. Ray said it again. Yeah, he's a two-way player. He's going to be very, very important. He's a multi-dimensional player on both ends of the court. I also saw him bringing the ball up court more, right? So he's working on his ball handling a little bit too. just initiating offense, things that he didn't do last year, he didn't really have to do, and may not have to do a lot this year because we got guys like Jaden Ivey coming back, added to this roster. So I think, and we have Karis LeVert too. So he may not be doing that much in the regular season, but we know that he has the ability to go ahead and do that. So he's 20 years old, man. Like seeing him at 23, 24 is going to be scary. It's going to be scary, man. So I'm really looking forward to watching him play. All right, let's go ahead and get to the next guy. And let's get to Bobi Klintman, right? So, guys, Bobi Klintman is a guy who I've been high on. If you've been watching my show for any amount of time, you've probably heard me mention him at least once or twice. I'm really high on Bobi Klintman. And I like what I saw from him again today to start this game, or just the whole game. Two things I'm watching for with Bobi this year in Summer League is his defense and his rebounding, right? Those are two. He's not a bad defender. He's not a bad rebounder, right? But there is room for improvement, especially playing for this team. And I thought this game he looked good in both areas. Bobi, like Ron, also had 2 steals to start this game. He had 2 steals in the first 4 minutes, and one of those resulted in a breakaway dunk. So he looks really improved in both of those areas already. He was all over the boards, sealing his man, just playing textbook defense, right? Sealing and going to get in the board, right? And I love to see him crash. Because he's one of those guys. We talked about this before, guys. I talked about how I love guys who can grab and go, right? And what I mean by grab and go is board and push. Grab the rebound and push the ball, where you don't need to find an outlet. You are the outlet. And that puts pressure on their defense. It gives them less time to set up because you can grab and just shoot down the court. And Bobi Klintman is one of those guys you can add to the list, along with a guy like Asar, who can do that, along with a guy like Ron, who can do that, along with a guy like Cade, Jaden, who can do that. All these guys can rebound well for their size and lead the break or lead the offense without having to find an outlet, which makes it harder for the defense to get set up. And if they are able to set up, a lot of times you'll find those guys, because they got to set so quick, you'll find a mismatch out of it. So I love that about him. I love to see him crashing the boards. He did have a few sloppy plays. He's got to clean that up. But I really liked overall what I saw from him. And I still have him, guys, as the backup 4 for this team, where he didn't shoot great this game, but he was solid. He had 10 points. He shot 3 of 7 overall, 1 of 3 from 3, 3 of 4 from the free throw line, 8 rebounds. Like I mentioned, guys, those rebounds are key. 5 assists, 2 steals, 1 block, 2 turnovers. He was a plus 22 in this game. So like I mentioned, guys, he's not going to be a superstar player, but he's going to be a very good supplemental player. Very important piece, I think, for this team is being able to come in and provide a lot of what we didn't have last year, which was additional playmaking off the bench, right? He's a guy who can knock down shots, but he's also a guy who can do other things for you. He can rebound the basketball. He can push. He can set up the offense. You feel comfortable with the ball in his hands because he's not going to hurt you. He's a very high IQ player. So I liked what I saw from him, man. He also had a nice block. He had a nice block at the rim, threw it out of bounds. I think Daniss Jenkins was out of position, and the recovery or the help was there with Bobi. He can't. So just the overall defensive instincts, just being aware, right, of what's happening on the court, not falling asleep on defense, just being aware, being attached, being connected. Those are all things that he can do. So I really want to see him continue to progress, and I think that he is going to be that backup 4. Maybe not to start the season, but I think by the end of the year, he's going to be that backup 4. So I like what I saw from him. Let's keep it pushing, and let's go to our rookie, Chaz Lanier, who actually won the Jerry West Shooting Guard of the Year award last season in college. Tonight he had 10 points, 4 for 11 from the field, 2 of 7 from 3, 4 assists, 2 rebounds, 1 steal, 1 block, and 1 turnover in 25 minutes. So Chaz did look a little bit tight to start this game. I think he may have been a little bit nervous, a little bit jittery in his first NBA action, which is normal, right? He airballed a midi. That's how I could tell he was a little bit nervous, because that's not like him at all. He's got range. He's got plenty of range, well beyond the three-point line. So it looked like he was just a little bit jittery, a little bit nervous. But once he settled in, he kind of got into a rhythm, which was good to see. He's not a great ball handler quite yet. He had his back to his defender a lot in the half-court offense. And he actually carried the ball on one possession without even being pressured. So he's got to work on that. But like I said before, that's not going to be his game. He's not a point guard. He's going to be a guard who comes into the game and gets buckets, right? He was able to knock down his first shot in the second quarter, coming off. I think he was coming off a screen, or it may have just been a swing, and he knocked down a 3-ball. So that was good to see. He found a little rhythm in the second half too. knocking down shots in the, from three and also in that mid range. So second half, he looked a lot better, looked a lot more under control, wasn't pressing, and just kind of found a rhythm and just let the game come to him. So I think we're going to see him get better and better as Summer League continues to progress. But he looked good defensively too. He had a nice steal on a backdoor cut. He's a guy who is active defensively. Once again, he doesn't fall asleep on defense. He's always attached to his man, right? You don't see him really getting caught off guard. You don't see him napping. You don't see him looking like, the controller on 2K died and he's just, not moving around and he's getting lost. Like, he is attached to his man. He's got a good sense of awareness. But once again, Summer League. So we expect to see, a little bit of sloppy play at times, which there was, with him a little bit, but it wasn't anything that was alarming. He's got he's got a great shooting stroke. He's got a great shooting stroke. Now, you can say that for a few of these guys. Bobi's got a great shooting stroke. Chaz has a great shooting stroke. So I think he is going to be just fine in the NBA. Not saying he's going to be a rotational player from day one, but I do think he's going to be a guy that when you need him, say you have games where, guys are out of sync. Say maybe K's out of sync, or Jaden's out of sync, or Karis is out of sync, or maybe those guys are in foul trouble. Being able to have a guy like Chaz, who is a little bit bigger at 6'4", Devin, right? Who can play solid defense. He's not a liability in defense. He's active defensively. He plays, he moves the ball. He moves himself. He fits in well with the offense. And I think having a guy like that who's a little bit bigger is something that, is really going to help this team. He's not like a one-on-one guy. He's not a one-on-one player. We've got guys like Sasser, who's a great one-on-one player. But we know our offense is motion offense, right? Especially in transition. But even in the pick and roll, you need movement. And that's what Chaz Lanier gives you. He gives you movement. We have ball handlers already who can initiate offense. We need a guy like Chaz who can come in and move without the basketball and get good shots consistently. And that's something that he can do. So I'm really looking forward to seeing his progression as well. I really was happy with a lot of these guys, man. A lot of these guys, even though it's game one, even though it's summer league, you see the potential that these guys have. You see how they play for each other and play together. And I think we're going to see them get better and better. Like I said, I would not be surprised if they won this tournament. I think they have the most talent. I looked up and down the other rosters. I think this team has the most talent, for sure. I don't think it's really even anything to question, but we'll see. But yeah, definitely like what I saw from Chaz. Got to settle down a little bit, get a bit more under control. But I think he'll do that after, now that he's got his first game under his belt, he'll be better. All right, let's move on to Daniss Jenkins, guys. Another guy who I had my eye on as early as last year. Around this time last year in Summer League, Daniss Jenkins was one of the guys that really caught my attention. And let's just get to his box score tonight. So tonight, Daniss Jenkins had 18 points on 7 for 11 shooting, 3 of 5 from 3, 1 for 1 from the free throw line, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, only 1 turnover, and 22. He did all that in 22 minutes, guys. 18 points in 22 minutes. Daniss Jenkins tonight, guys, was one of the best players on the court. Period. He knocked down the 3 ball to start the game to get it going. And on the next play, defensively, he got a block. On the other, he's like I mentioned, guys, he's very scrappy. Very scrappy. He likes to pick up 94 feet. He is not one that gets called for a lot of bad fouls. He knows how to defend tough without really fouling well. He's shown that last year. He's showing it again this year. He's a very, very sound basketball player, and his defense is going to be his calling card. But offensively, he can do a lot of things too. He's very underrated offensively. He's got a nice looking stroke. He's a consistent shooter from long range, especially if you leave him open. He can get his own shot. He can run the offense. He doesn't turn the ball over. 1 turnover in 22 minutes. So he's a very much under control point guard. And I know a lot of guys here, a lot of fans were worrying, what are the Pistons going to do, at point guard, that backup point guard spot? We know that Cade and Jaden can both play the point. We know that when Cade sits down, Jaden is likely going to slide to the 2 and play point with Kerry LaVerse, and they can play off each other. But once again, having a guy, we mentioned with Chaz, having a scorer that you can go to off your bench is important. Also, having a point guard that you can go to on your bench is also important. We lost Dennis Schroeder, right? He was important to our team last year. And so I think having a guy like Daniss Jenkins, who's proven, right, last year in Summer League, last year with the Crews, this year again, picking up right where he left off, he looks like a better version of the version that I saw last year. Like, he grabbed my eyes, he grabbed my attention last year with his play. He looks like a better version of that. So once again, I mentioned, guys, with Chaz Lanier being that guard we need off the bench, I think Daniss Jenkins could very well be that third point guard on this team. Right? Once again, if you have guys who are out of sync, guys who are in foul trouble, Daniss Jenkins could come in and really give you a lift at that point guard spot. He can keep the offense moving It's not going to get bogged down and stagnated like it did before Dennis Schroeder got here. When Jaden went down, he's a guy who can plug and play. Put him in the game, he's going to help your team out. So I think he's going to be that third point guard on this team, the third natural point guard. We know Karis LeVert can play at times. Jaden Ivey's going to get a chance to play at times. But I think Daniss Jenkins could also be that guy behind them who could be a rotational player. And, well, not rotational player, but given an opportunity, he can definitely go in and help your team. So good game from Daniss Jenkins, man. I'm really high on him as well. And I think he's going to have a role this season. Finally, Tolu Smith. Tolu Smith, guys. So Tolu Smith is the Pistons' big man. I think this is his second year with the Crews. Second year in Summer League, I believe. He played with the Crews last year, but tonight he was solid too. He had 16 points on 6 for 13 shooting, 4 or 7 from the free throw line. He had 11 boards, 2 assists, 1 steal, 2 blocks, 3 turnovers in 26 minutes. So Tolu Smith, guys, is a guy that he doesn't get mentioned quite as much as the other guys, but he's a solid big man. He gives a good interior presence. He's mostly an interior player. He's not a stretch 5 or a stretch big, right? He can knock it down if he's open, but he's primarily an interior player on both ends of the court. And tonight, 11 boards. He rebounded well. He also played well out of the pick and roll with Bobi Klintman, with Bobi being in that point forward role, right? You saw them kind of getting going with each other. He had some easy finishes at the rim, did Tolu Smith, right? He had a nice and one finish too after grabbing an offensive board. So that's going to be his role, I think. Just really being, cleanup man in the paint. He doesn't have like an offensive bag, but he's got good footwork. He's a good finisher around the rim. He doesn't have extremely long arms, even though he's 6'11". I think he's got like a 7-foot wingspan. It's not great for a big man. You want to see 7'3", 7'4", like JD and Isaiah Stewart. I think JD is 7'5" wingspan. Stu is 7'4", but that's okay because Tolu Smith is taller than both of those guys. That's 6'11". JD is 6'10", Stu is 6'8", right? So he can make up for that lack of wingspan with his height and also with his athleticism, with his burst off the floor, right? So in the second half, he did struggle a little bit. He had some point blank shots at the rim that he couldn't finish that I think he will in the future. I think he just missed them. But I like to see him work on that as far as his finishing around the rim, because when you're that tall, I want to see you dunking everything. Dunking everything. That's what I want to see. So, but he was solid overall. And aside from that, guys, Trajan Langdon, he sat down with Greg Anthony during the game and had some things to say about certain guys. He was asked some questions about certain guys like Cade and J.I. He talked about how J.I. is looking great. He's ready to go. He's been working his tail off since he's been fully healed and fully healthy. So he talked about how he's going to be a big piece for this team. I think all along he thought that. I think all along he knew that Jaden and Cade were going to be the backcourt. Despite the rumors, despite, the mock trade we saw with Devin Booker and guys like that, I don't think that was ever going to happen. I don't think that's ever going to happen. And I think this is why, because Trajan Langdon has a plan. He's sticking to that plan, and so far it's working. So he was really excited, even though he doesn't show a lot of emotion and excitement in his voice. He seemed to be very, very excited by how much he elaborated on J.I. and talked about how he's really looking forward to seeing him next season take that next jump. And he also mentioned something I've always said is that before he went down, he was playing the best basketball of his life. 17, 4-on-4, 40% shooting from 3, very efficient. And I think next season we're going to see him take a big jump. I think the time off will really be a blessing in disguise for him having a full season to just watch from the sideline. Right? That's going to be big for him, I think, as far in talking to Cade and talking with Coach. I think he's going to have a really good understanding of how to run this offense when Cade sits down. So I'm looking forward to a big season from J.I. as well. Trajan mentioned Cade, talked about Cade, how he's just been a great leader. The same things we hear from everybody. Cade is a great leader, great leader, great leader. And, he cares about these guys off the court is another thing that Trajan Lanier said. He cares about these guys' success. He's always putting, guys ahead of himself. He's always, trying to see how he can help his guys be better in situations to help them be successful. Like he's a great leader. He's a great leader to go along with being a great player. So we have our guy. We definitely have our guy. And they were kind of gushing over him during the game when the game was out of reach and it was not really much to pay attention to. They were talking about Cade a lot. So yeah, man, Trajan had a lot of things to say about him. And also Ron Holland talked about how Ron has really progressed from, last season going into this season, how he's looking for him to become even better defender, better shooter. And I think as he made a shot, as he was talking about that, Ron actually hit a shot right when he said that. So yeah, man, he's really, really putting together a really good team. And I think next season, guys, is going to be one that surprises a lot of people outside of Detroit Pistons fans. So shout out to Trajan Langdon too, man, because he got it right with Ron, guys. he got it right. Right? A lot of guys, myself included, slept a little bit on Ron before the draft. Right? I was looking at guys like Dalton Connect, his teammate and Matas Buzelis. Right? I think Ron's gonna be better than both of those guys. Ron really has a chance to be a star player, guys, in this league. He really has that true two-way potential, and just the mindset that he has coming into the game. Right? We heard Tim Hardaway Jr. recently talk about Isaiah Stewart and how when he steps in between those, he said Isaiah Stewart is, a kind-hearted guy. He wouldn't hurt a fly, heart of gold. He said, but when he steps into between those lines, he turns into a guy that, that has something that you can't teach. And that's just the mindset. And Ron has that same mindset. You can tell there are no friends in the basketball court other than those wearing his jersey. It was funny on one play. I think one player fell to the floor for the Knicks. Ron walked over where Ron was walking in his direction, and Ron put his hand out and took it away. I think he knew him, so I think he may have helped him up. But Ron is that kind of guy. Like he's not gonna give you anything easy. He's not gonna be friends with you on the court. He really just wants to win every single time he steps into that court. So I'm really excited about Ron Holland, man. Like he was a standout player, guys, far and away. And he's the leader of this team. And it's just nice to see him, when giving more opportunity, being able to go ahead and capitalize. Like I mentioned, him being able to bring the ball up court, initiating offense. His handles looks to have gotten better as well. So there's so much room for growth for a guy who's already good. That's the thing. There's so much room for growth for him. He's just scratching the surface. Rookie last year, anytime a rookie can make an impact immediately for a team that's not a terrible team, like you see a lot of guys get the opportunity in terrible teams and they get empty stats, but they don't really impact the game. We saw Ron last year impacting the game. He should have had a game winner last year, that game against the Hornets when we lost by one, the last shot by Brandon Miller at the buzzer. Before that, Ron picked up a steal, went coast to coast with guys on both sides of him, defenders on both sides of him, and finished. That should have been a game winner. Like, you don't see rookies doing that. You don't see guys doing that this early. So Ron is very much so ready, and he's got that skill that Stu has of being able to come into the game looking to punish you, right? Looking to put you in the dirt and not feeling bad about it at all. That is Ron Holland, guys. But off the court, just like Stu, fun-loving guy, respectful guy. You can even hear in his interviews, I forgot who was interviewing him, but when it was over, she said, thank you. He said, yes, ma'am. Right? So he's a respectful guy off the court. Great guy off the court. I got a chance to talk to him briefly when Charles Hill brought him onto the stream about a month or so ago with me and King. Real good dude, man. Really good dude. But on the court, like Stu, it's all business. No games. So I'm looking forward to seeing him, man. He's going to be a really, really good player for this team going forward. So, guys, that is all we have for this episode. I appreciate you guys being here. The Pistons' next game is going to be this Sunday, July 13th, against the Houston Rockets at 4 p.m. And, guys, we will be right back here to break it all down. So make sure you guys talk to me in the comments. Let me know what you guys saw, and let's keep this conversation going. And y'all know the drill, man. Detroit versus everybody. Peace.
And when you knock me down, I'm getting back up. Cause when I step on the floor, you know your time's up. I'm on my way up and I'm not gonna stop. We headed straight to the top in the know. I gotta face it, I got no time to waste it.